Yes, welcome into SportsBIT. Betting and Insight today. Pauly and Drew Martin. Teddy on vacation. Tuesday, June 20th. Big game breakdown. Huge series begins in Coors. The Diamondbacks and the Rockies, two of the best teams in MLB. Who had this before the season? Also, the Yankees return home after a terrible road trip on the West Coast. They take on the Angels. We'll get to that, and we try to stay hot with the play of the day. Coming up today, we got the Daily Fantasy FTC stepping in. We'll get to that. Also, you're not going to get better information than this show. We love our stats guy here as well. We told you the Nats bullpen's been a disaster. They blow a 6-0 lead. Kluber's back. So are the Indians. 6 in a row. They're in first place. They rout the Orioles yesterday. And we told you Kershaw, something off about the kid. 4 home runs allowed in the win. And for whom the Bellinger tolls, it's 2 more home runs, 21 on the season. And that was our play of the day winner. We said the Dodgers would get that total by themselves. And they did. So a big show coming up. Before we get to daily fantasy, all-time records on the way in Las Vegas. It could reach 117 today, Drew. And Teddy's on a beach catching some tasty waves. Look at this photo. Unbelievable. 117 all week.
Is that Teddy 20 years ago in the Caymans?
Yeah, right. Yes. Look at that. Oh, man. I can't believe it. There was a blackout at a casino as well. Whole thing went down, machines. It was crazy. What's going on? Getting crazy from the heat. All right. I know you play daily fantasy. What'd you think of the news that the DraftKings FanDuel merger is off? The FTC, along with the offices of the attorneys general from California and District of Columbia, seek a temporary restraining order, and a trial is set for November 21st, 2017. Hence, a merger before the upcoming football season already off the table. Drew, they control, between the two of them, about 90 to 95% of daily fantasy sports.
Yeah, I mean, as far as playing daily fantasy, I play DraftKings, and I look at this as more of like a political view. You know, the libertarian in me says, you know, government, stay the hell out of business. But at the same time, you do got to think you can't have a monopoly on this. So, and if these two teamed up and had 95% of it, they could just drive the price up themselves, especially taking advantage of sports betting not actually being legal. So in that sense, I might think it's actually a good thing. And we have a couple quotes here from big names that had to do with the decision. The FTC acting director, Ted Lipsky, says, "This merger would deprive customers of the substantial benefits of direct competition between DraftKings and FanDuel." Like you said, it's 95% of the competition. And another quote here, an important one from California AG office. Attorney General Becerra is concerned that a virtual monopoly could negatively affect consumers and competition. Permitting this merger could make it difficult for startup companies to compete and could set a potentially harmful precedent for startups of all sorts. So I can see where that view comes in, Pauly. It's a tough thing to say whether they should or shouldn't. And to tell you the truth, Pauly, I'm on the fence. Where are you standing?
Well, I know this. It's the same thing as poker and sports betting. It's gambling, but it's also a skill. So it bothers me, and especially how the NFL is a bunch of hypocrites. You have Kraft and Jerry Jones as investors in daily fantasy, but Goodell doesn't want anything to do with sports betting. It's ridiculous. And we're up to 4 games in London every year, by the way, too, where you can bet right across the street, where a William Hill's like 7-Eleven over there.
Right. I mean, it's absolutely, you know, gambling. But like you said, it is a skill as well. So it's where does that fine line go? And I look at it more of a, you know, like I said, like a political, should they keep these two separated? And I actually think it would be better for the consumer for them to be separated. So as far as this goes, I lean towards it being the right decision. Yeah.
Well, I don't play, but I know looking at Twitter yesterday and a lot of comments that people don't think much of these companies to begin with. You know, put in your lineups and also the shenanigans that happen with employees winning and all that other garbage. All right, bad beats, bad bets, bad for the books. Let's start with a moose. This one was vicious. That Nationals bullpen strikes again. They gave Roark a 6-0 lead. He couldn't hold it. They lose against the Marlins. And the Washington bullpen, as we see this graphic, number 1 in innings, 29th in ERA, 28th in fielding independent pitching, Drew. I know Dusty Baker said last week Rizzo's on the case. They're trying to get a closer. They're going to run away with a division. Where would this team be if they actually had a good bullpen?
Oh, they'd be 40 games up by the end of the season. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
This lineup is definitely one of the best in baseball. And if they had half a bullpen, they would be absolutely a monster. And they just need a closer, according to the mainstays in Washington. But they need to make a trade for that to happen.
Tough. You can't cash a ticket with a 6-0 lead, and against the Marlins, no less. Here's another tough push. This Giants-Braves total was 9. Brutal push for the Giants, second day in a row. If you had the Giants in the under, or Giants under rather, 2-0 in the 8th, and then Dickey pitched well. I couldn't believe it, but Cueto only allowed 2 runs over 7. The San Francisco bullpen allowed a 7 spot in the bottom of the 8th.
San Francisco is now 0-5 on this road trip. They've lost 7 games by 30 runs. If you're stepping in front of or trying to bet on San Francisco right now, best of luck.
Yeah, I can't believe they're worse than the Padres. No one saw that coming before the season. Bad for the books. 30-cent move on the Indians. $1.40 up to $1.70. Bundy was terrible again. And Kluber, been dynamite off the DL. They didn't need Allen. They didn't need Miller. 11 strikeouts, no walks, only 3 hits. Orioles have been terrible lately, and the Indians extend their first-place lead.
Yeah, and also, how good has Jose Ramirez been for the Tribe, Pauly? Last 7 games, 19 for 33 and 14 extra base hits. That's a OPS definitely to write home about. Also, big time from Corey Kluber. Miller and Allen, they both pitched back-to-back games out of Cleveland bullpen and needed a night off. Kluber went the distance when the team needed it. Just 3 hits, no walks, 11 Ks. A quote here from Kluber, throw it up. I mean, that's your goal every game, to try to finish it. Obviously, it doesn't happen more often than it does, but I think we had a lot of baseball that we've played this last weekend. The bullpen covered a lot of innings for us, so that's my added bonus with it.
Another bet for the books. 25-cent move on the Astros in Oakland. Bet up to $1.60. Peacock does it again. Astros still playing good ball, even though 80% of the starting rotation on the DL. Look at the starters with the best strikeout percentage in MLB. Peacock #1 ahead of Sale and Scherzer. How about that? 4-1 with a 2.82 this season. He struck out 8 of the 22 batters he faced. He's in elite company right now.
Yeah, that stat right there is pretty ridiculous, Pauly. I mean, best K percentage, Peacock, Sale, and Scherzer, 36.5%. That's a lot of walking back to the dugout with the K there. So something I'm not looking to step in front of either.
And the Dodgers red hot. They've won 9 of 10. They were as high as 320 against the Mets. Bad for books. Also bad in Las Vegas because there's always Dodger money. The game goes over. The Dodgers cover the run line, and Kershaw got tagged. We told you yesterday he hasn't been himself this year. They're 13-2 in his starts, but he gave up 4 home runs in a game for the first time in his career. He's already allowed 17 home runs this season. ESPN Stats and Info. That's a career high.
Yeah, I mean, and it's going to be interesting, Pauly, to see how this affects them going forward and how they're priced, because they keep cashing tickets, yet Kershaw, like you said, he hasn't been his same self. His walk percentage is more than double from last year. But they keep cashing tickets, and as we've seen in the past, it betters if they keep winning, they keep going back. So I would see high prices going forward on the Dodgers, especially when Kershaw is on the mound. It might be time to go against them here.
Well, and also because you have Bellinger in that sick offense. This team can mash. They got the total by themselves yesterday. They would have 6 runs in the second inning. Turner's back. Also, Bellinger, 21 home runs in 51 games. This is from the Ace of Spader on Twitter. Home run percentage, Bellinger, 9.91%. You see Bonds in 2001, McGuire in 98, Maris in 61, and Ruth in 1927 with their home run percentage too. I mean, this is ridiculous. That is a violent swing. And I was yelling at Teddy, forget about Adrian Gonzalez. How do you put that guy out there at first base with 1 home run? He goes on the DL. This guy has got to be in the lineup every single day. Now it's a no-brainer for Roberts. It's a home run every night.
Yeah, and with that quote you put up from Spader on Twitter there, we're comparing him to Bonds in 01 and 98 McGuire, and I think we both know what those 2 guys were doing. So
that's right. Oh, man, dirty. Yeah, you know it. Up next, big game breakdown. Who had this before the start of the season? A huge series begins in Coors with the Diamondbacks and the Rockies, and also home sweet home for the Yankees. They take on the Angels. Plus, we look to stay hot with the play of the day on SportsBIT. Betting Insight today on SBRPicks.com.
What's up, everyone? I'm Drew Martin with SBR. Want to give you an update on a free handicapping contest that we're putting together. It's called the MLB June Bet Points Contest. The purse is 1,500 SBR bet points, which go to the top 5 finishers. The top 5 finishers also get an SBR t-shirt, and the winner of the contest can be featured on one of SBR's shows. I'm Drew Martin for SBR. Make sure to find it on the SBR tab on the SBR website. I'll see you in the contest.
Back on SportsBIT, Betting Insight today, Pauly and Drew Martin. As always, live odds, SBR odds, and sportsbook review. Check out the rating guide. Make sure you're betting with a trustworthy shop out there. Game number 1, Diamondbacks and the Rockies. Greinke against Marquez. Rockies $1.08, 11 the total. Who would have predicted this showdown before the season started, rather, when you look at their position in the standings? No fluke. Rockies, 2nd in win percentage, 5th in run differential. D-backs, 4th in win percentage, 4th in run differential as well. And they didn't get their money's worth out of Greinke last year, but a whole different ball game this year. 10-4 in his starts and better across the board. Throw up that graphic. 2016, he had a 4.37. This year, he's got an ERA of 3. You see the FIP, the XFIP, and the Sierra, all better numbers, but the key has been the slider, throwing it more than ever and better than ever. The slider use, career 16.2%. This year, 25.4%. Such good command that when it breaks out of the zone, hitters are swinging anyway and not making much contact. I think both teams are going to keep this up, Drew. I mean, you look at the standings. They got a 9-game – Dodgers have a 9.5-game lead over the Cubs and a 9-game lead for the Diamondbacks in the wild card. No one's even close to them right now.
Yeah, I mean, the whole NL West in general, Pauly, you know, like we talked about yesterday, it's like the old AL East. It's just kind of the best teams are all in one division now, especially in the National League. And with the Diamondbacks doing what they're doing, the Rockies, the Dodgers, it's good top TV to watch these teams when they're playing against each other. And Greinke, this is an interesting game tonight because – You know, Greinke's one of the guys that's a real technical guy. He tries to really concentrate on the numbers. So when you put him in positions like pitching in cores, in my opinion, it makes him more of a bet on because, you know, he'll stay away from the pitches that, you know, have higher percentage hit volume in cores. So I'd actually look more towards the Diamondbacks here tonight, Pauly.
He pitched well the first time there?
Yeah. A few weeks back, I believe he gave up 2 runs in 7 innings.
Now, when you look, we were talking about the slider and the command and not hitters not making a lot of contact. You see the swinging strike percentage leaders this year. You throw up that graphic. He's 4th behind DeGrom, Scherzer, and Sale, and also swing percentage leaders as well. He's number 1 ahead of Tanaka, Pineda, and Sale in that one. Now, the Rockies, I mean, this is the best pitching staff they've ever had by far. And they didn't know what they were getting as they went into the season with Marquez, Freeland, Hoffman, and some of those guys. But this guy's had a full season. He's ahead of schedule, a full season ahead of schedule, rather. 22 years old, only 41 innings at AAA. They had planned to keep him there, but Gray got hurt, so he's 5-3 with an ERA of 4 and change over 53 innings. Probably going to be in the majors for good. But the big story is also Ben Holland, the glue. Back from Tommy John surgery after missing all of 2016. You look at this career ERA, 2.36. This year it's 1.69. The strikeout percentage is up, and the FIP just about the same with his career. Slightly worse in control, but dead on in other categories. 145 saves with the Royals before the injury. Seems to be the same guy as he's 24 or 25 in save chances. Huge, especially in that ballpark, that you can turn over to a guy who can close the door game after game after game, Drew.
Yeah, and we got a quote here from manager Bud Black. Throw it up. It's a big boost to know that a pitcher of that quality and reliability is coming in. Over time, when you win games after you have leads, it just gives the group a great deal of confidence. It sets up the guys in front of them to have that same level of confidence. And like you talked about, Pauly, with the stats, they've mostly been good. But most importantly, when you convert 24 of 25 save chances, you know, that puts W's in the standings, and it showed with the Rockies, and they're going to they're at least on pace to be in the playoffs. And Nolan Arenado's cycle on Sunday, it gets him some ink he's deserved, but not just on offense, also one of the best glove men around. him locking down third base there. We have a graphic here, third base defensive WAR, 2016 and 17. You can see it here. Machado plus 24.2, Rendon plus 18.3, and there is Arenado plus 17.7. So some good defense and offense there for the Rockies. And like you said, Pauly, their pitching has probably been the mainstay there.
Yep, unbelievable. Definitely in the MVP discussion as well. Game number 2, live odds, SBR odds, and Sportsbook review. Angels and the Yankees. Home sweet home for the Yankees. It's Bridwell against Pineda. Yankees 270, over under 10. Has a team on an 0-6 slide ever been favored by more than 250? The markets kept betting the Yankees no matter what. I watched a lot of those games. I thought Girardi had a terrible road trip as well. Bad job with the bullpen. I don't know why Chris Carter continues to be in the lineup. But the big news, they got Chapman back on Sunday as well. But a lot of close losses. 1-6 on the road trip. But they didn't play awful baseball. 3 losses by 1 run, 2 by 2, and the other by 3. But they burned. This is from SBR's picks, SBR Sports Picks on Twitter. They burned a lot of money for bettors during their 6-game losing streak. Here's the public betting percentage. Tuesday, 75%. Wednesday, 75%. Thursday, 77%. Friday, 80%. Saturday, 79%. And Sunday, 83%. You lost every single time with the Yankees. A quote from Girardi, I don't look at things in a snapshot. I look at how you played over the course of the season. We played really well, and it's a talented group. It's a long year. Too many people have been getting caught in a 2 or 3 day period or a week period. None of that makes a season, end quote. Well, you also got beat by bad teams. You lost 2 out of 3 to the Angels without Trout, and then you got swept by the A's in a 4-game series. One game, you was 2 outs with nobody on. 4 straight hits, you lose that game too. Disaster for the Yankees.
Absolutely, Pauly. And we've seen it time and time again. You know, these East Coast teams go out to the West Coast, especially they're in sleepy Oakland Coliseum, and they drop all 3 games. So we've seen it before. I really didn't see this coming to the Yankees. And that SBR, that Twitter that we just showed, that's a big one. I mean, that was huge for the books. The public lost a lot of money on the Yankees there. And a big reason why, Michael Pineda, remember, he was handed that 4-0 lead in the first inning versus the Angels in Anaheim, and then had to leave after it was tied 5-5 in the 6th. And Pineda, his numbers have really flattened out after the hot start. We can throw up a graphic here. In his first 10, he was 6-2, just over a 3.3 ERA, over 10 Ks per 9, under 2.5 walks per 9. And in his last 3 starts, just 1-1, a 5 ERA, only 5.5 Ks and 3 walks per 9. So Michael Pineda, who the markets have loved and have bet on, we see money coming in on him time after time, has not been the same pitcher in his last 3 starts there, Pauly.
Yeah, this line's crazy. I can't believe the steam here. This is out of control. Big key tonight, though. You get Betances and Chapman healthy and rested, so you only need 6 strong innings out of Pineda in this one. And I was wrong about this. I thought the Angels were going to be horrible when Trout went down. They've been hanging in there. Before Trout was hurt, they were 500, 26-26. After Trout was put on the DL, 10-11. And a lot of it's because of Eric Young. You see Trout's career, 308 on-base percentage in the slugging. Young in 2017, better numbers. But you look at Young's career, 249 and only 319 with the on-base. Prior to 2017, 8 home runs and 1,400 at-bats. This year, 3 home runs and 155 at-bats. One of the home runs was in the 3-2 win last Tuesday when he went 4 for 10 in the series. He hit the game-tying home run in the bottom of the 8th when they brought in Clippard, and he tied it at 2, and they won in extra innings in that one. Here's Sosha, quote, he's a guy getting an opportunity and making the most of it. He's getting big hits and playing good defense in center or left or running the bases well. He fits right in with these guys. He's playing good baseball, end quote. What do you know about Bridwell? And is this guy ready to go and ready for Yankee Stadium?
You know, it's only his 2nd MLB start, Pauly. So he got away with murder versus the Yankees in relief last week. 7 of 15 batters he faced got hits, but not charged with an earned run. And there was 1 earned run, though, so keep that in mind. And he has to step up because of Matt Shoemaker going on the DL. So it seems like he's got the talent, but we'll have to see, especially against this Yankees lineup at home, which has been a lot better. And keep in mind, the Angel bullpen, nothing special. They did have Monday off, though, so they got some arms rested. And it could be a quick hook for Birdwell if he doesn't have it. So keep that in mind. If you're betting on the Yankees, you might get at least a rested bullpen for the Angels there, Pauly.
All right, money time. Play of the day. Back to the Diamondbacks and Rockies. Let's take the D-backs. Betting number 961. Let's stay hot. Even money out there. Most places you see plus $6, $7 as well. That's available. Goldschmidt and the Diamondbacks hitters will love their shot at Coors on a hot night. First pitch about 90 degrees. How about that? But we like Greinke in this spot. He's already pitched well at Coors, as Drew mentioned. Let's give out the Diamondbacks as the play of the day. Friday's going to be an NFL division preview special again. Thursday, NBA draft is here. We might have some big moves and trades, and we'll do some first time you can bet on the NBA draft as well. We'll go over some props, and we'll kick that around as well in a couple baseball games. So we're going to have a big show Wednesday and Thursday here on SportsBIT. Betting Insight today on SBRpicks.com. Thanks for watching. Tell your friends.